What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Brew with Matt and Mike. And in this episode, we're going to be previewing the Wisconsin Marquette game Saturday, December 6th at 1 p.m. at the Kohl Center. And Mike, before we get into it, how are we doing today?
We're good, man. I'm still recovering from my post-tournament celebration. I don't got that tiger blood in me anymore. I was much younger at one point. It was easier for me to get back from not sleeping, but we had a good tournament, so then I decided to enjoy some of the finer things that Mexico has to offer in mezcal and tequila, and we had a 5 a.m. flight. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna hair on the dog this thing and have a good time. So I'm good. Working on recovering. I got my
Yeah,
morning Joe. So
let's go. He's got the brew. But yeah, I mean, I got to give you a little bit of a hard time. It is Friday. It is Friday. That is
not
that is a
sleeping.
long time to recover.
Hey, a full day of not sleeping, traveling, and then the 2 hour time change. Plus, I'm just. You're right. You're right. It's Friday. My bad. My bad. Get better.
All right. All right, so we'll get into the Wisconsin Marquette game a little bit. And I'll start us off. So, Badger fans, for the most part, should know what Marquette likes to do under Shaka Smart by this point. But looking historically, I believe Greg Gard is 3-1 against Marquette, and the first loss was last year. Cam Jones, I'm pretty sure, had close to 30 points. Wisconsin had a halftime lead, made some bad mistakes at the end of the first half. I remember Max Klesmit fouling Chase Ross in the corner. Terrible foul, and that was a huge momentum shifter. Got the score a little bit closer, and then in the second half, Wisconsin got a little bit sloppy. Some bad turnovers from Blackwell, I remember in particular. Stephen Crowell had a rough game, and I thought that was a game that he could feast in a little bit more because their big men are not that imposing. But yeah, so Marquette likes to pick up full court and three-quarter court defense, and they want to make you waste some seconds getting just the ball up the court, and they want to get, I believe, like 35 deflections a game. That's like a big thing for them. They track their deflections. Like, it's on the Jumbotron. The fans are all aware. The fans go crazy when they hit a certain amount of deflections. I forgot exactly what the number is, but
Really?
deflections, they want it. Yeah, that's Shaka's thing is just creating havoc and creating chaos
Oh, yeah.
defensively, and they want to get a certain amount of deflections. I can do a quick Google search. How many deflections does Marquette want to get each game?
I mean, that's been a
It
big
should,
thing for him since he was at VCU. Like, that was a
yeah,
big statistic. Certain coaches have certain statistics. Bo Ryan was famous for having points per possession, PPP. I remember watching Shaka Smart when he was coaching at VCU. They always talked about deflections when they had those little highlights for him. So, did not
yeah,
know it extended to the crowd getting into
yeah.
it.
No, the Marquette fans are super into it.
I like it. I
And
think that's really cool.
I agree. I agree. And it's 32 deflections. It's
Wow.
32 deflections is their
Yeah.
target, and they get it quite a bit. But yeah, a lot of man-to-man defense. They'll mix in a little bit of zone. This Marquette team, not the best shooting team, and under Shaka, I can't say Marquette's ever really been that good of a rebounding team. But this team doesn't strike me. It's early. Doesn't strike me as a great rebounding team. They're two big guys. Ben Gold, he's not an imposing rebounder. He's more of a finesse big guy at 6'9". Then I would say Caden Hamilton's probably about 6'8", 6'9", and he's got broad shoulders, but he's not super bouncy. He's not a Charles Barkley out there grabbing rebounds. So Marquette lost their three top scorers from last year, all seniors who were with the program for all 4 years. They were with Shaka from his first year up until last year. And it's a bit of the end of an era thing for Marquette because they had those three guys, but all Shaka's original crew is now pretty much gone. I mean, Chase Ross came in year two, but and Shaka has also, and it's because Shaka recruited these guys and was able to win them over. I think Cam Jones committed to Wojo. Wojo's a terrible coach, but I can't stand Wojo. He committed to Wojo, and I think Shaka got him to go to Marquette afterwards. I think he got Iguodaro to stay. Props to Shaka there. And then also, who else am I thinking? David Joplin was committed to play for Shaka down in Texas, and he stuck around and played for him at Marquette. He was a Brookfield Central guy. So they had Stevie Mitchell, David Joplin, Cam Jones, all seniors. All really, really good, smart players. That's the big thing. Shaka has had elite level basketball IQ on his team every year of his career so far. With Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones, it doesn't get smarter than that. Just two guys who aren't that good of athletes, but just super crafty, love their left hands, can get to their left hands and just make things happen, can finish with all kinds of spin on the rim. But the big thing is, those guys aren't coming out of the locker room this year. This is a bit of a down, a little Patino reference right there, but there's no Kolek coming out of that locker room. There's no Cam Jones coming out of that locker room. Omax Prosper's not coming out of that locker room. Iguodaro's not coming out of that locker room. Is Marquette talentless? No, they have talent, but they don't have that elite level basketball IQ that they've had in recent years. So I think for this game for Wisconsin, we're going to get into our keys to the game. For Wisconsin, I think they got to focus on themselves more than like, okay, we got to stop this with this guy, this with that guy. I think if Wisconsin focuses on itself and takes care of what they need to take care of as a team, I think they'll be successful. It's obviously I'll just go right into my biggest keys and then I'll let you go after my monologue here. Number one, take care of the ball, right? Every game, that's a pretty broad thing, but Marquette's going to try to get their deflection. They're going to try turning you over. Their defense shouldn't take a huge step down from previous years. Their defense is going to be tough. But yeah, take care of the ball. Don't rush. Play fast. Don't rush. John Wooden right there. But with that being said, don't settle for threes, right? You take the threes, but make sure they're decent looks. Wisconsin in the past has taken too many pedestrian threes, like quality, what I'm talking about. Like, I would much rather them, when they shoot threes, it comes from the inside out, because Marquette's going to extend pressure, get to the hoop, especially if you're Nick Boyd. If they're pressuring you 40 feet away from the hoop, you get right by your defender. You either finish at the hoop or you kick it out for your teammates. But yeah, focusing more on what Wisconsin needs to do as a team individually versus lasering in on Marquette is kind of my key to the game. So what are your keys, Mike?
My keys right now, I think the biggest thing for Wisconsin, especially in this game, obviously, it's taking care of the basketball, but is a very easy way to look at it. But the biggest thing for me is the assist numbers, right? And taking care of the basketball while still getting ball movement. Because sometimes this team will take care of the basketball, but the ball movement it's just not what it can be. They're not playing hot potato. It's not hopping, as some coaches would say. The ball's hopping around. When that happens with this Badger team, they are very, very difficult to deal with. And even with pressure, like Marquette, like you've kind of gone a little bit deeper into Marquette. You're from you're hanging out in the Wisconsin area a lot more. So you know a lot of these guys coming out. In terms of what Shaka's done, he has his culture, he has his foundation, right? Having the number of tips, number of deflections as part of your crowd work or part of your crowd system, that's just a very cultural thing for him. So he's always had good defenses. With this Marquette team, they're not overly imposing size-wise. They're a little bit smaller. They're rangier. A lot of 6'7", 6'5" wings that can play defense fast. Their bigs are relatively mobile, not big 7-footers who are great at protecting the rim. I wouldn't be shocked to see if Coach Gard goes with a smaller lineup today, on Saturday. I think we'll see some Winter at the 5, and we'll go with more 4 guard stuff just to deal with some of that pressure, have more ball handling on the floor, and being able to attack. Because Marquette looks pretty athletic. After watching some film on them and everything like that, they're an athletic team. Shaka always likes to have a horizontally athletic team, lateral athletic team that can press, that can put different, put you in different positions defensively, can switch a lot. So that's the biggest thing for me is that ball movement. And then if Wisconsin does go big, you got to use your advantages and they got to hit the glass. I think if they win the offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, they win the glass, they should be able to take care of business.
Yeah, and I'm just real quickly want to fact check myself on Stephen Crowell. Yeah, Stephen Crowell had a terrible game last year. 2 points, 11 boards. I called him out just a second ago, so I wanted to make sure I was correct on that. But yeah, I think in previous years he played really well against Marquette. And actually had a poster dunk over Oso Iguodaro, who's on the Phoenix Suns right now. People don't remember that one, but he punched it down on Oso, which was pretty impressive for me. But getting back into this matchup. I think there's a good chance we see Wisconsin play a smaller lineup. But also, I remember Wisconsin lost to Marquette the year before, but 2 years ago when Wisconsin beat Marquette at home in 2023. I mean, 2023 is like 10 years ago in today's college basketball. But like, yeah, but they bullied Marquette on the boards,
Yep.
and I think it was like 38-23. I wonder if Winter and Belauskis, I mean, they're not going to dominate Michigan State on the boards, but could they together dominate Marquette a little bit on the board? So I am curious to see how those two together, just their physicality, if it might be a little bit too much for Marquette down low. Like that's a big thing for me. And I wish Wisconsin, I wish Nolan Winter was a little bit more advanced when it comes to just dumping the ball down in the post to him and him being more just aggressive and able to finish at a higher level. I would say his 2-point percentage is super, super high, but he's not a guy who you can just dump the ball down on the post and he's going to make magic happen. He's solid. I just wish he was a little bit higher. But how do you think Wisconsin should seek attacking their big guys? Because they don't have a ton of length. They're not overly athletic down low. How should Wisconsin try attacking their big guys, and should they try getting the ball down into the post to Winter and Belauskis?
So for me,
And how should they do it?
yeah. So for me, and we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, is Winter is not overly advanced down on the block, so they don't run a lot of stuff for him down there, right? Like he doesn't demand that type of play call. His skill set doesn't quite, but what his skill set does demand is a lot of tension, especially on the rolls, right? So the way Wisconsin, that Wisconsin of old, we used to run something similar to a European offense. It just, instead of having having guys down on the block, now you have everybody 5 out, right? And the way Wisconsin has been getting post touches this year is either with Blackwell in isolation, especially on the right block, or out of high lows when teams start to switch. Is it the right block? If you're looking at the paint, it's the left side. That's where Blackwell really gets his. I think that's the left block. My bad.
No, you're good.
But he gets a lot of his post work out of those isolations. Coach Gard calls a couple of sets for him to get isolations down there. And the biggest thing for post touches within Wisconsin is those high lows, right? Belauskis, Winter's getting a lot of those. We've seen Rapp get quite a few of those. So that's where they've been getting their post touches. And it's kind of a change in the offense, obviously, because we're used to seeing guys like Tyler Wall and Ethan Happ who have been dominant down on the block. But as this offense has changed, so has the spacing, so has the touch points for the basketball, right? So where the basketball is being penetrated from, where the basketball is going, it's a lot more perimeter oriented, which is this new space and pace that Wisconsin has been playing at. And that's why there's been a change in the offense. There's not a guy underneath the basket, so it allows for more guys to find driving lanes, everything like that. So for Wisconsin to attack them inside, it's going to be, rebounding is a big thing. Teams really want to press up, really want to pressure. The biggest thing is, even if you do get good shots or you find okay shots, the way you can negate a lot of that pressure is just by yourself putting pressure on the backboard, forcing them to block out, because they use so much effort and energy to try and trap you, to try and get deflections, that they're sometimes going to be caught out of position. So for me, it's a big thing of winning the backboard, and then also, finding those high lows, because I believe what's going to happen is Marquette's going to do a lot of switching, and being able to find that patience, be under control enough, even within the face of pressure, to get to that high-low situation and take advantage of your height down low. And I think that's going to be, how those bigs, Rapp and Belauskis, can handle that swing pass off the top. If they're going to deny it, some teams have started to deny that. If they can get that ball there, especially after the side pick and roll, I think that's going to be a big key. How many of those can they get in the game? Can they get 10, 12 points out of that action? I think that would be a big difference.
Yeah, and you talked about John Blackwell, and that kind of popped into my mind. If you talk about a little matchup, the two stars at the two guard position, you're gonna have John Blackwell and Chase Ross. That's a matchup. If I was Greg Gard, I would try getting John Blackwell the ball on the block against Chase Ross. Blackwell's just got broader shoulders, naturally a bigger, stronger guy than Chase Ross. Chase Ross, very good player, very athletic. But he has, his shoulders are not that broad. He's just kind of, his frame isn't that big. So that'd be something that I would look to attack. If you need to get a bucket or you have a bit of a drought, hey, get the ball to Blackwell. let him get to his mid-range shot, let him get all the way to the rim on Chase Ross. So, but I would utilize Blackwell's strength when Chase Ross is matched up with him. But like you said, there's a lot of switches. It usually isn't that simple where it's like, okay, this is our best guy, this is our best guy. Let's just have him go at it. You need a lot of time they won't be matched up with each other because of switches. But I will say I would say that's if Wisconsin needs to get a bucket, I would go Blackwell at Chase Ross. But yeah, I think we covered it adequately. I also looked up Marquette's defense this year is ranked 92nd in the country in defensive efficiency. Wisconsin's at 106. I mean, both teams have a lot of room for improvement. It's early, but that is something to note. Marquette almost lost to Valparaiso earlier this week and went to overtime. I got to give Ben Gold props. He made a highly contested layup with like 50 seconds left to tie the game that ultimately sent it to overtime where Marquette won. He's usually not a great finisher around the hoop. So that was a super impressive finish over kind of a wiry guy who got up there. So we'll shout out Ben Gold there. They lost to Oklahoma before that. Wisconsin lost in the preseason to them. And we talked this before the show, that Tay Davis for Oklahoma. I love that guy. I wish he could shoot a little bit better because I love to follow his NBA career. But you never know. If he gets a shot, be really, really good. And then last rant I want to go on, Tyler Wall. He had some really good moments in the Wisconsin-Marquette rivalry. He played really well. We got to see prime Tyler Wall against Marquette before that injury, and he cooked. Had a great move on Omax Prosper in overtime. Euro step sent Prosper to the crowd, and then saluted the crowd after he made it. Made a three against Marquette, and then he cooked Ben Gold quite a bit the year after, even though that was well past his prime. But let's get into Mike. You played Marquette 3 times. You were injured your senior year. You guys took an L your senior year when you weren't on the court at Marquette. But in 09 you guys won. 2010 you guys won at Marquette, and then 2011 you lost at home, and then in 2012 you guys lost in the road. But you were 2-1 because you didn't play in that senior year game. Just talk about what's your fondest memory against Marquette. Which game was it?
So I fondly remember. I think it was my junior year, or no, my sophomore year. It was my sophomore year. I'd started the game. It was still an early season matchup for me. I think it was game 6 or 7. And in my typical fashion, I was very overhyped for the game. I was very, very like, oh, I'm ready to go. Exerted a lot of energy the first few possessions, and played okay. Didn't play great, but played okay during that game. But I very much remember in the second half. I don't know. I don't remember if I started the second half. I don't think so. But I remember there was a point where Tim Jarmus was on the floor, and he was going against Jimmy Butler. And Marquette.
That's a terrible matchup. How's Jimmy Butler going to do anything with Jarmus guarding him?
I mean, Jimmy wasn't. Let's be honest though. In college, Jimmy wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't Jimmy Butler. People know today.
Good. He had game.
Yeah, but Jarmus probably dominated that matchup.
Actually, so what happened was I just very specifically remember on the bench, and all of a sudden, like they started running. Because Buzz Williams was the head coach at that time. So they started running like a elbow isolation action for Jimmy Butler on the right elbow, and he scored like 3 straight possessions in a row. And I just remember like Coach Ryan just looks at me, get your ass in there and stop him. And I looked at him, I'm like, well, he's going now. Like, what you want me to do? And I came in and he got like 2 more buckets on me, and then I was able to kind of shut that down. But I just remember walking in the game and being like, well, he found rhythm. Like, he's good. He's averaging like 14 a game. I was like, he wasn't the same Jimmy Butler that we know from the NBA, but it was still like, that was a funny moment. And that was actually one of my favorite wins because that Marquette team was super good.
They were, but I think they were like an 11 seed that year, I believe, right? Yeah, they were like an 11, or maybe it was the year before, but they were talented. I mean, looking at these names, this Marquette team: Jimmy Butler, Vander Blue,
yep.
Darius Johnson, Odom. Odom was a monster. That guy, put him on a football field. That guy is all-pro starting safety. He's 6'1", 6'2", 220 pounds, the fastest guy on the court. Freak athlete.
The meanest chin, bro. That chin is here. He's got like an evil cartoon character chin. Super cool dude. I played with him before. He's a cool dude, but he got a chin.
But bro, yeah, no, he was a dog. And then he got Dwight Bikes, who played in the NBA for a few years. You had Jay Crowder coming off the bench,
Yep.
Devontae Gardner coming off the bench. I mean, come on, like Gardner, not an NBA guy, but boy, he was a
He was a
good
great
college
college
player.
player.
Junior
A
Cadogan coming
great
off the
college.
bench.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough Marquette team. But I would say John Lure and Jordan Taylor, and probably the best college basketball players on that court. And
Yeah.
I mean, we won't get into the weeds, but Lure unfortunately got hurt in the NBA. People don't realize how good a prime John Lure was, and I know you'll agree with me there. But John Lure was a dog. Like, people think that, if they just watched like his last year or two in the NBA after his injuries, like, oh, he's just 6'10" and was there like a Joel Prisbilla, they probably think, but that's not him. Obviously, much smaller. He's 6'10", could put the ball on the floor. Was a point guard in high school at Lake Roseburg. Could put the ball on the floor. Could shoot from deep. Just super skilled. He was a point forward.
Yeah.
John Lure was a dog, and unfortunately, you staying healthy, man. It's not easy to stay healthy, and then that cut his prime short right after he signed a big deal with the Pistons. Had a nice year with them. He got hurt, but Wisconsin won that. And did I cut you off, or did you want to say anything else?
You cut me off because you started throwing some shade at Joe Prisbilla. Don't be throwing some shade at Joe. He was a rotation player in the NBA. Like you throwing a lot of shade at a Minnesota guy that's a legend. I'm just letting you know.
That's a crazy statement. A legend.
In Minnesota basketball? Yeah, he won a state championship.
Oh, okay. Minnesota. Yeah, you make the NBA. Yeah.
No, not an NBA legend, but he was in the league. Like high school basketball, he's from Monticello. Like, hey, man, he's a small town guy. I got to protect my, there's a small.
I just thought of a big white stiff, kind of like that. Like I'm not saying that he necessarily is, but I was just saying that average fan who doesn't know John Lure probably thinks he's just kind of like a big, slow white guy, but that wasn't who John Lure was.
John had a giant bag of game. Like that man.
I know. And he would cook Draymond. He would cook Draymond in college.
Oh, that was a fun game too. We lost that game, but that was a fun game. I remember.
Yeah. No. So I got into the weeds. Lure, very good ball player. But yeah, proceed. I got a little bit excited reminiscing on the Marquette names.
No, but that was fun. And the thing with the Marquette game is what people don't really realize is like that is a rivalry game. And rivalry games are always just a little bit different. That's we as Badger fans, as Marquette fans, like both programs have great history. Both programs have great fan bases. They split the state. Like I think there's more Badger fans in the state than there is Marquette, mostly because of football. I actually believe that. But also just in terms of, who bleeds what colors. And for me, it's really fun to play those games as a player. And it also changes the dynamic. So even though there's the team that may not be as good, may not be as skilled, or on paper doesn't look like a great matchup, it's hard to quantify the inner feelings of guys, especially in that I-94 matchup that's coming down. So for me, it always depended on who was home too. Like I always wanted to defend our home court, and I was really mad we didn't do that my junior year. So that was a little bit tough. It always felt better to win on the other team's home court. Yeah, we got kind of cooked that game. It was, and Juan Toscano Anderson was on that team too. So Marquette's had some dudes. Marquette's a great program. I'm really excited for the game.
Yeah. And also, just, you talk about being a rivalry game, and this is a question I just thought of. Marquette, and I'll give Shaka credit for this, it's worked, and Marquette fans are getting so emotional right now, but Shaka has done an unbelievable job, and it's worked for him so far. And granted, like, he has 0 guys, I think, who are portal guys. They're all Marquette guys. That's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing that he's doing, trying to build a culture in 2025, close to 2026, and retain guys. I think that's a great thing. It's worked out great for him up until this point, and it's early. Things can change for Marquette. But, and I will say, like, when you're not going to have this Cam Jones and Cole coming out of that locker room, hey, maybe you bring a freshman in or a sophomore who spent 1 year elsewhere, and then you could turn him into a Marquette guy, right? Tyler Kolek, Marquette legend. He's a Marquette guy. He's not a George Mason guy because he played there 1 year. Omax Prosper, he's a Marquette guy. He's not a Clemson guy. I think it was Clemson because he played there for 1 year. So, yeah, I think if you want to do that strategy, you probably need to go to the portal, bring in perhaps a sophomore. I understand if you don't want to bring in the 6th-year senior, the 24, 25-year-old guy who's going to be there for 1 year. I understand it. I understand that philosophy. But my question for you is Marquette has all, and this is going to be a big advantage for Marquette, I think, and I always think that Marquette, at least the fans get a little bit more juiced up than Wisconsin, which I don't think it should be that case. I just think it is that way. And I think this year will be an advantage for Marquette because everyone is a Marquette guy. Everyone is retained at Marquette. What the hell does Marquette versus Wisconsin mean extra to Rapp, Belauskis, Nick Boyd in his third team in his sixth year? Like, if you're Greg Gard, if you're one of the assistants, you're Brad Davison, who might be coming on the show for an interview. Stay tuned. How do you how do you get these guys excited? How do you prep them? How do you get them to understand the magnitude of this rivalry and get them ready to go? Because Marquette's going to bring it. They're going to be playing ridiculously hard because this game matters to those Marquette guys. We have a bunch of rental players on Wisconsin.
I mean, the biggest thing with that is like it doesn't really matter if you haven't really participated in it before. If you have just been kind of ingrained in the culture, even if it's been for a couple of months. So, rivalry games are rivalry games and you can feel it, even if you're not really, if you haven't really experienced before, if it's not like, in the forefront, you got a couple of international guys. So for me, if I'm a coach, I'm going to try and, assimilate some of these analogies to them, for Belauskis specifically. I'd be like, hey, this is a Vilnius Rytas versus Žalgiris game, which are like the two biggest teams in Lithuania. Like when you see those types of derbies, you're like, oh, okay, I understand it. That's really what it would be likened to. With Rapp, it's the Sydney Kings. I'm trying to think who's the second best team. There's two teams in Sydney. I can't remember, but you kind of liken it to what those guys have. But it doesn't really matter for me. Like I've been in big rivalry games where, I've been in big cup games. I've been in big rivalry games as a professional as well as a college player. And even very specifically, most recently in my tournament down in Mexico, in our group play, we had the Dominican Republic. If you know anything about the Caribbean, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico are right next to each other. And culturally, it's very kind of clashing. And I knew for that game, like if we lose that game, people are going to be mad at me. And I could feel it. I hadn't, I don't have any feelings type ways towards the Dominican Republic, but a lot of people here on the island do, and I knew that. So it's kind of the same thing with college guys. It's like you don't necessarily have to be super ingrained to understand, hey, this game just feels a little bit different. And especially like, I know guys are probably walking around campus and be like, hey, you guys better beat Marquette. That's the other thing is those fans really bring that rivalry to the next level, and you can feel it either in class, when you're walking around campus, like, hey, when's the Marquette game? Hey, when's that? Because those are going to be, I think this is going to be one of the more premier tickets for Wisconsin in their home arena, right? They haven't had a really big game yet. With Northwestern, yeah, but any bigger games at Madison, this is going to be the biggest one they've had so far, and they're going to definitely feel that.
Yeah, and just to finish this video off, and I think this would be kind of fun. And fun fact about me is I have a good episodic memory. Like I can remember dates and events really, really well. I don't know why. I just do. And I thought it'd be fun. And I swear I didn't look any of these up. Besides, I looked up the box score for 2010, but I was able to list it before. But if I go through what I remember, and I can tell you where I was, but that would get a little bit too long. I remember all that. But I can go all the way to, I would say 2006 and tell you the result of every single Wisconsin Marquette game. And I remember watching the games up from 2008 on to now. But you guys can fact check me. You guys can go ahead and look at it. I swear I didn't look at this ahead of time. This kind of just came to me right now. But 2006, I don't remember 2006 and 2007. I will admit that. And I think 2006, I assume because Wisconsin had Tucker and Cam Taylor, I assume that Wisconsin won that game. They were really, really good, a 2 seed. And then I think in 2007, 2008, Wisconsin was really good, was a 3 seed that year. But I believe they lost that game. I believe I looked that up like a long time ago. I remember I think Wisconsin lost with Butch and Flowers senior year. But now going to games that I remember.
I have it right in front of me. I'm doing the fact checking for you. And so in 2007, you said Marquette won?
Marquette won in '07 and Wisconsin, I think, won in '06. I don't remember those games.
Correct.
I
You are
actually
correct.
remember it in '08.
You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, that's from previous research. But now I'll get into the zone, and I
All
guarantee I
right.
get all these right.
Let's
I'll be
see what you got.
stunned if I don't get them right.
Let's see
We're
what
gonna
you
go
got.
2008. That was the Wes Matthews, Dominic McNeil, or Dominic James, Jarrell McNeil senior year team at Marquette and Wisconsin. I believe Mike was a senior at this point in time in high school.
It was.
But yeah, Wisconsin got down, Wisconsin got a lead, and then in the second half, and I was a little fifth grader at the time, and I was at my grandparents' house, I remember, and my grandpa was like, "Matt, go to bed. Wisconsin has this one. Go. You need to get sleep." So I little fifth grade me, little 10-year-old me wakes up the next day quite sad because Marquette came back and won in 2008. Then 2009 was at the Kohl Center. Wisconsin won. Trayvon Hughes, Jason Bohannon senior year. Mike was a freshman. 2010, I would say this was one of my favorite games at the Bradley Center. One of my favorite games growing up. But yeah, Wisconsin won that, as we talked about earlier. John Lure, I remember, had a nice and one, kind of like a block charge call. He had a nice dunk in that game. Josh Gosser, I think, made a big defensive stop to win the game. That was 2010. Wisconsin won that. 2011, I was at this game. Wisconsin lost. That was Jordan Taylor's senior year. And Mike was a junior. Wisconsin lost to Marquette. Todd Mayo cooked you guys quite badly. Yeah, so 2011, and they had Jay Crowder and Darius Johnson Odom were seniors that year. Marquette won in 2011. Then 2012, Mike was injured for this game. Sam Decker was a freshman, I believe, started in your place. But yeah, at the Bradley Center once again, Marquette won in 2012. Really rough game. Devontae Gardner had a solo fast break and won over Jared Bergwin. Marquette won 2012, and then in 2013 was Decker and Kaminsky was coming onto the scene, and Wisconsin won against Marquette at the Kohl Center. And then 2014, Wisconsin beat Marquette. Then Marquette, that was first year of Steve of Wojo coaching, and they did not have a lot of talent. Wisconsin was super talented, and Marquette tried slowing the pace, even though Wisconsin played slow. They packed it into 2-3 and really played slow. I think it was like 49-37 or something like that.
49-38. That's impressive.
38. Yeah, so 14, Wisconsin beat them. And then in 15, you had Nigel and Bronson were both juniors, and it was supposed to be their show, but Bo went isolation heavy. And I almost think Bo was kind of setting up Greg Gard to be the hero later in the season, because he just let Bronson and Nigel go ISO and throw up some uncharacteristic shots for Wisconsin. And they were not thriving in that system. They started like 9-9 that season, but Marquette beat Wisconsin at the Kohl Center. It was a low scoring game, and late in the game, I don't know if it was Henry Ellenson hit a big shot to kind of seal the game for Wisconsin. But yeah, Marquette took that at the Kohl Center. And then in 2016, Wisconsin, Nigel Hayes, Bronson seniors, both guys played really, really well in that game, and Wisconsin beat Marquette. And that was the last game of the rivalry at the Bradley Center. And then in 2017, Marcus Howard, Andrew Rousey, Sam Hauser cooked Wisconsin in 2017. Demetric Trice and Kobe King just got injured, and TJ Schlump was getting playing time. Wisconsin got destroyed by Marquette in 2017. And then in 2018, first game at the Fiserv Forum, it went to overtime, I believe, and Marquette won. Yeah, it did go to overtime, and Marquette won. Ethan Happ had like 30 points in that game in his fifth year. And then 2019 at Wisconsin, Brevin Pritzel, I believe, put up a double-double in this game, and Wisconsin won handily. They took care of business. And then 2020, this was at Marquette, COVID game, no fans, and Marquette hit a game winner by Justin Lewis. 2021, we're going to go Wisconsin played Marquette at the Kohl Center, and Brad Davison put up 20. I think Johnny put up 20, like 5, I would assume. And Wisconsin took care of Marquette there. 2022, overtime game. Tyler Wall cooked once again, and Wisconsin won. Chucky Hepburn popped off, got hurt, came back, played really, really well. And then 2023, Wisconsin won at the Kohl Center. 2024, Marquette won at the Fiserv. And then in 2025, I am going to predict Wisconsin with a victory. Mike, what's your prediction?
The boys. The boys
Let's go.
with the red. The boys in the W. I think they're going to take care of business. I think it'll be a little bit of an uglier first half. And then in the second half, it's going to be too much Nick Boyd, too much John Blackwell, and hopefully Nolan Winter gets like 22 rebounds. I think he has a chance to go and get 20 plus rebounds today. Or I mean Saturday, sorry.
Yeah, and he did that against Michigan State last year. He had like 18, 17 against a much more physical Michigan State team. So I wouldn't count it out. But yeah, dominating the boards is a big key to this game. And just, lock in on yourself, like that picture of Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps, You don't need to be looking in their lane too much. If you handle your business, you don't play like morons, and you're not selling for threes. If you start 0-6 from three, you don't just start hucking up 30-footers. Or if Marquette gets up to an early lead, like Wisconsin just has to take it possession by possession, win each possession. But if they play what to their standards, I think Wisconsin should take care of this game. But yeah, Mike, I didn't give you a chance, but yeah, not bad. Not bad. The episodic memory.
What you mean not bad? You guess scores? Like, yo, you just rattled it off. Like, I was waiting for you to tell me what each team was ranked. To be honest with you, I was surprised you didn't have that.
I probably could, but I didn't want to bore people. I didn't want to bore you guys. Like, I went on a 6-7 minute monologue as it's on its own. I didn't need to tell you what I was eating that day. I didn't need to tell you all the details. But yeah, I thought I could. I tell you what, some people might get a kick out of it.
No, it's very impressive, man. I got a kick out of it. I have a similar brain in terms of I can tell you a lot of different plays and different games. I may not be able to tell you the score, but I could tell you that play at that time and how many possessions were left in the game, especially in fourth quarters and stuff like that. I can remember a lot of that stuff. So, everybody's got a little different brain. Everybody's on the spectrum in different parts. Yours just happens to be remembering Badger scores, which hopefully
just dates in general.
Yeah, we can make it useful.
I remember events and dates. Like I can, if someone gives me a date, I can tell you what went down on that date.
That's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. Jealous.
Yeah, so we're all on the spectrum a little bit. That's actually hilarious.
Everybody's got their own spectrum.
And LeBron James is a huge compulsive liar, but he's also quite good at remembering plays, kind of like you just said.
The way he breaks games down is impressive. Like how he can remember possessions, because he thinks about it in a script, and I've stolen a lot of basketball IQ from that man. So I just got to give him his props. The way he thinks about the game is a computer level genius. So,
bro, and I just knew, I was with that game with my buddies, and I just knew Kobe was going for 70. I don't know what got into me. I don't know what got into me. I just knew he was going for 70. And then at one point I was like, you might as well just go for 80. I don't know what it was. I just knew.
Appreciate you, Braun. Appreciate you.
And also he's also avid reader. He loves to read, and he does a great job reading his books. He knows all about them too. He can tell you all the characters and his favorite parts of all the books. And
I haven't dove that deep into it, but I'm sure it's.
You haven't seen those clips?
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh, where he has like a long ass book, and they're like, well, "What's your favorite part about the book?" And he looks like a little kid who's just got caught in a lie, and he's like, "I haven't really started it yet."
I like it. I like where his head's at in that. I'm gonna borrow that too.
Yeah. No, nothing like a compulsive liar. I love a compulsive liar. I prefer my goats to be just hyper competitive, who would dunk over your grandma. That's what my goat. I like compulsive competitors.
I can understand that. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that.
With that being said, Michael Jordan's obviously my goat. So
clearly, there's nobody else.
Yeah. All right, we went for 38 minutes. I gotta go. I got work to do. But fellas, thank you guys for making to the end of the video. Mike, great talking with you, and we'll talk soon. We might talk after the Marquette game. We'll see. So stay tuned for that, and hit that subscribe button, and we will see you soon. Thank you for making to the end of the video and enjoying the brew.